If you're here, it means your current situation has reached a critical level of uncertainty. You're at a transition point where your usual strategies no longer work and new ones haven't formed yet. Let's establish the ground rules right away. We're not going to do fortune telling in the usual sense. In esoteric practice, people often look to the cards for comfort or confirmation of the hopes. We're going to take a different approach. We'll conduct a systematically analysis of what's happening in your reality using the sun archetype as the tool to decode your situation. Many of you are currently in what's often called an information fog. You're trying to interpret someone else's actions while endlessly analyzing details that don't actually matter. Why do you keep doing this? This is a classic cognitive bias driven by expectation. Your brain is desperately trying to fill in the gaps where there's no real information. You invent the missing context, assign motives that were never expressed, justify silence or strange behavior, all in an effort to preserve a version of the relationship that may have existed only in your imagination for a long time. You didn't come here to hear a simple yes or no. You came here for a detox. Today we are going to examine the Sun card as the point of absolutely clarity. In our approach, it isn't about luck or some gift from fate. It's the moment when denial becomes physically impossible. It's the point where reality breaks through your assumptions, whether you like it or not. Let's be honest, clarity can be painful. It strips away the illusions we've worked so hard to build. But that painful transparency is the only foundation strong enough to build something that won't collapse at the first time it's tested. We're not waiting for a miracle. We're analyzing the facts you've chosen to ignore until now. And now let's look at what this archetype actually means for your specification situation without embellishment and without unnecessary esoteric noise. Now that we've stripped away the distraction, let's examine the mechanics of what's entering your life right now. We'll break this analysis into 3 levels: intellectual, behavioral, and strategic. Level 1, the intellectual layer, denial. Truth isn't what we want to see. Truth is what's left when you stop feeding your illusions with your attention. In this framework, the Sun card represents the archetype of uncompromising clarity. In psychological terms, it's the moment when the cognitive dissonance between "I believe everything is fine" and "the facts say otherwise" finally collapse. Why does that make you uncomfortable? Because your ego has become attached to the belief that you can fix anything if you just try hard enough. The sun doesn't reveal how effective you are. It reveals the structure of the relationship itself. It shows that you've been trying to warm up a wall that was never capable of warming you back. Accept this fact. Clarity isn't a punishment. It's a tool that can save you years of your life that would otherwise be wasted trying to revive something that has no potential for growth. Level 2. The behavioral layer, relationship dynamics. When light falls on a relationship, the stage props disappear. Over the next few days, you'll begin to see the people around you without the filters you've always relied on. If your partner has been manipulative or emotionally distant, this period of the sun will push their behavior to an extreme. It will become either completely transparent or so irrational that you'll find yourself asking, "How did I not see this before?" The principle here is simple. Clarity comes through contrast. You'll see who willing to invest in the conversation and who simply using your attention as a resource. The first sign, the gray areas begin to disappear. No more mysterious silences, no more mixed messages. There will be clear action, or the unmistakable absence of it. The second sign is your own reaction. If you used to look for excuses, you'll now find yourself naturally rejecting anything that feels dishonest. That doesn't mean you've become cold. It means you've become precise. You begin to see the relationship as a system of variables rather than an emotional quest. Level 3. The strategic layer, your next move. Clarity is the point of decision, not a place of suffering. Most people make the mistake of using that clarity to push even harder against the situation. But the sun calls for something different, a rational detachment. Your strategy for the coming days is to observe the facts without trying to correct them immediately. Once you can see the structure, you stop being its a prisoner. If someone moves toward you, you accept it. If someone chooses to stay in the shadows, you don't chase them with a flashlight. You simply acknowledge, this is not a story I'm meant to be part of. That's the highest form of taking control of your reality. You stop reacting, you start directing. You let clarity do the work for you. You no longer need to be an active player in a game that's designed against you. All you need is to see the entire battlefield. Let's bring it all together. We've broken down your current state, explored the mechanics of the sun period, and seen how clarity reshapes the dynamics of your relationship. So, what's left when everything unnecessary is stripped away? The Sun card marks the final dismantling of every assumption you've been holding on to. You're entering a place where everything becomes obvious. This gives you an enormous advantage. You no longer have to spend your time, energy, and attention trying to dig out someone else's behavior. You're no longer held hostage by your own assumptions. The magic of this period isn't that everything will somehow work itself out. The real magic is that chaos becomes a system. You stop playing a game whose rules were never clear to you and become the observer who sees the entire structure of what's happening. That's what real strength looks like. Understanding the mechanics of the process instead of trying to predict its ending. I want you to ask yourself one question. What has changed in the way I see this situation over the last few minutes? Chances are your anxiety has already begun to fade, because uncertainty has been replaced with information. Now comes the most important part, looking at this mindset so you don't fall back into your old patterns the next time your emotions take over. Emotions are a variable, and variables often distort the data. That's why I want to give you a simple exercise I call fact-looking. Here's how it works. Grab a sheet of paper or open the Notes app on your phone. Divide the page into two columns. In the first column, write down everything you're inspecting from this situation. In the second, write only the facts. What the other person actually did, what you actually did, and what the outcome is right now. Now compare the two. That's your sunlight. If you want to master this kind of analysis, stop getting trapped by your own interpretations and keep a clear mind in any relationship. I'll be here when you're ready. And if this analysis gave you something valuable, here's how you can give something back. If this breakdown helped you turn mental chaos into clarity, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments which fact from today's analysis changed the way you see your situation. It's more than a formality. Your engagement helps the algorithm reach people who need clarity instead of comforting illusions. Use this tool not to wait for change, but to guide it. You've reached the point where clarity is your greatest weapon. Use it wisely.